clarify the whole thing about no-thingness.
Yeah.
Because when I was looking on YouTube at no-thingness, a lot of people are pretty high level no-thingness, not applicable to everyday life.
Yeah.
They're talking about a heightened meditative state. And that's good, and you can get there, and I have gotten there, but that's not, when we put the hyphen in the no-thingness, we're really saying take away things. Because most people make everyday things in their lives into bigger things, which creates a duality within themselves, and it reduces their energy, and their energy for manifestation, their energy for anything, because they've just created a duality and they're giving all their focus onto this thing, rather than just moving through it without making it a thing out of our lives. Because if you make something into a thing, something that happens to you, you're creating a swirl of energy that drains you. And so the way I look at it is, if you're driving up the canyon and somebody cuts you off, right, and really pisses you off, and you're mad, you go, okay, I made this into this person cut me off and I'm annoyed. At that moment in time, you have a choice. You can either go, okay, I'm annoyed, but I'm going to put that annoyance into my torus, into my movement of my energy field, and kind of mitigate it so it doesn't have a hold on me anymore. Or you can hold on to it and make it be a thing. And then when you get to your destination, you tell your best friend, oh my gosh, this guy cut me off in the canyon and it really pissed me off. And then the other guy walks in and you tell that friend, oh my gosh, this guy cut me off. And then the next day you're talking to your mom on the phone and you go, oh my gosh, this guy cut me off. Now what have you done? You've created a very big thing.
Yeah.
It could have been a very small thing, and it has drained so much of your energy. You've actually empowered that situation for that other person, not empowered you at all. You've drained your energy. So when we say no-thingness, it's taking things that happen to you in your life and having you have power over them rather than them have power over you. Does that make sense?
It does. After hearing the whole bit, it's just, I was kind of laughing at first when you started describing it, because it was like, I am so the opposite type of driver. Like, I'm the kind of person, if somebody cuts me off, I'll just watch them go along their way and then watch as they drive off the road.
But not everybody is.
But everyone's got their own little hooks, you know? And for me, it's different things. But yeah, that happens to everyone in the human condition. I mean, just about everyone's got buttons, unless you're like a monk or something. You know?
And it's okay to have a button. I think that's the thing to be clear on, is it's okay to have that button. You just can't make that button into a thing. So if somebody does something, whatever your button is, I use the car example, but let's say it's something to do with self-confidence, and someone says to you, one of your buttons, like, oh my, you're, like, for me it would be like, well, why don't you wear more makeup, or why don't you do something else with your hair? That used to be a button, but it's not a button anymore. But if it was, it could, and it hurt me, I may go home and tell somebody, oh, so-and-so said that and it hurt me, and I let it go, right? But if I kept on talking about it and thinking about it, I would be creating a duality in myself and making it into a thing.
And it feels terrible when that's happening, because I have my own triggers. Trigger is a word I've heard thrown around out there, and people are using it right now. I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm familiar with another. I've heard of it in my studies in psychology. A trigger, right, basically. But it's for me. I have my certain triggers or buttons, call it what you want, and it happens and it feels awful. That's where I was.
That's where you're going, awful at that moment.
It's terrible, and sometimes, especially I can remember in my early 20s, I had a few of them, like several, and when it happened, it ruined my whole day, sometimes my whole week, sometimes my whole year. Some of them were so bad.
Because you made it into a little demigod thing.
Because they kept going over it and over it and not doing anything about it.
So you're basically taking your energy, that's your natural energy field, and you're feeding it into that one moment in time, that one circumstance, that one trigger, and it now is draining your energy, draining your field, and you're creating a thing out of it. So when we say no-thingness, we're trying to give people the power through the way they think, the way they respond, that they no longer are going to create things.
And I believe that's what's going on in our culture. This has been heightened to levels unheard of before.
Mm-hmm.
It is so high right now. There's several places where it's easily visible. For instance, the divide between the sexes, masculinity and femininity.
Thing.
It's this huge thing now,
And it should.
and people are being triggered by all sorts of things, and women saying masculinity is not acceptable, and guys still being dicks and just being awful to women still in this age, and so it's both sides and everything in between, but we don't have to be trapped into these dumb triggers that keep us separate
And then duality.
and definitely not creating anything good
No.
from that.
And it's a best way to control people is to separate them. And you separate in yourself too. I mean, I think that's what we have to look at the steps of it. You're feeling the separation in yourself when you get triggered about something about yourself. And then there's the trigger of I'm triggered, or I feel a duality between what I believe and what this other person believes. And I think when I've actually witnessed it, it came to a realization that it's okay to disagree. Do you know what I mean? If I disagree with you on some matter, you're not going to think that I don't like you or that I think you're an awful person. You're not going to personalize my disagreement about your idea on something. And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Where it's like, if like you said something to me like, Nancy, I don't like, okay, here we go. I don't like I'm not really into horses, right? And I'm very much into horses, and I didn't take that personally. It wasn't like, okay, well, it's been great knowing you, Chris.
Let's be honest though, usually the ones that do it, that divide people as far as they can go to the point where they don't even talk to you anymore.
Politics.
Religion, politics, anything really
Sexual
heavy.
orientation.
Yeah, that one's huge. That one really, I mean, I don't want to take this too close to home. We're putting names out there, but someone very close to me, regarding gays, like he won't even talk to someone if he finds out they're gay, like to that level. And so that's what we're talking about here, it's
Making all those aspects into things. Because it's really just an aspect of a human. Their political belief system is an aspect. Their religious belief system is an aspect. There's so much more than just those things. Those things that we make into capital thing. And so by learning to say I'm not going to make that into a thing, I'm going to move beyond the duality of that. That is huge. That's gaining control again.
That's where the growth is.
Mm-hmm.
Because the opposite spectrum, the extreme, these are my beliefs, and you're something different. That we all know just from politics. When you go into that mode, there's no learning, there's no debating. It's just, you don't believe what I believe in, and so we're done. I'm going to vote for who I'm going to vote for, and you know what? When I see you at work tomorrow, I'm not going to talk to you. Don't make eye contact with me.
Exactly. Don't talk to me ever again.
That's how harsh the duality gets.
Mm-hmm. It's true. That's
Politics, religion,
and duality has its
that's
root.
where the deepest stuff comes.
But duality has its root in making small happenings or opinions into things. That is the root of it. You can't have a dualistic system unless you made it into that by creating a thing. You made politics into a thing. And so then that gives the growing ground for a dualistic perspective. If you didn't go, okay, cool. I mean, that's the way I look at it. You're an amazing human being, and maybe you have a different belief system than I do in whatever realm, be it religion or be it politics, but you're an amazing human being, and that is an aspect of you, and I refuse to make that into a thing and cause a dualism between me and this other person. Do you You see?
Mm-hmm.
But people do it.
Well, I'm thinking about the situation for myself, and I'm looking back on my life and going, I've done that dozens of times in the past. It just so happens that as I grew older, it wasn't something I wanted in my life, and I wanted to hear why other people felt the way they do, and I wanted to be more open-minded so that it could grow more. Because you have to have an open mind to grow and expand and become a more awesome person. That's just that's the way it goes.
We're only in this reality in life to expand and grow. That's why we exist.
I believe so. Yeah.
And if we stay in a contracted state, it's unhealthy on all levels.
Yeah, you're pretty much dead at that point. I always, when somebody brings up that topic, I always am brought back to martial arts and think about the martial artist who, got his mastery level back in '83, and he hasn't done anything else since then. He was the champion in '83.
And he stopped.
But then he stopped.
Because we're expanding beings. We're supposed to expand. The universe expands. We're supposed to expand as people. So yeah, that's the whole explanation between nothingness and no-thingness. Because we're trying to have it be no-thingness, where you have control over. You can choose to make it into a thing and realize it's going to drain you, or you can choose not to make it into a thing and realize that you now have control and you're not making a dualistic system.